Okay. See, this is where I'm like, I don't know if this is live or not, because I hit go live, but then there's like this countdown timer. So I don't know if I am live. Welcome. My name is Megan, also known as Going Green Mom on here. And before people come in, if you check out the description, there are links to a couple of live schedules there. One is for Share the Air, which is sort of the full-time RV, van life type genre, and then also one for homesteading lives. So if you would like to be included on those schedules, if you are a content creator and you go live regularly, let me know for the Homesteading Live Schedule or Lucretia from Burning Up the Roads for the Share the Air schedule. Okay. And real quick, now that I've got that announcement out of the way, I'm going to check and make sure it actually went live. Okay. Make sure it actually went live. All right. I do have things a little bit differently now. I was able to... How stupid is this, Shell? There is actually a little manual switch on the side of my computer that will turn off the camera. I don't know, seems kind of like somebody that was paranoid made this computer, but I get it and I like it. So, and it is 4. So... the question of the day I had for today, as I was sitting here eating ice cream, which, by the way, the thumbnail picture is a picture of my container of ice cream because, well, you know, when you're not in a household with other people, it's just easier to just eat it out of the container than out of a bowl. That was a picture of what I was snacking on. And I'm like, man, I really need to find something that is a little bit healthier than that. So in the past, I've had various go-to snack foods. I have a friend who, for her kids, this is actually a snack. Like, they'll just make hot chocolate, and it does actually kind of fill you up. Obviously, I need to clean off my shelves. I also do popcorn, more so when it's cooler out, just because it's really hot in my house, because we don't have AC. So I also have a giant box of apple rings. This was originally probably twice this amount, but it is, it was 4 pounds on as your standard. And there it goes sliding because I set it on top of the popcorn bowl. So, we do a lot of ice cream around here, though. A lot of ice cream. I do have frozen fruit in the freezer pretty much at all times for smoothies. But that's more work than popping a lid off and grabbing a spoon or Even if you have to put it in a bowl, smoothies seem to be a bit more. Other things that we have on various occasions snacked on, stuff like chicken nuggets or French bread pizzas. I have 2 teenagers, so very much. Hey, Glorious Life on Wheels. How old are your kids? Oh, and we're already starting with the Charlie visits this week. Can you say hi? He's like, what are you doing? "17. I have one that will be 17 in December. And then my youngest is 14. So were you guys actually homeschooling before, or have gone to actual homeschooling, or are you doing virtual schooling? We have been doing the virtual schooling, and the 14-year-old is really not happy with it. The 16-year-old seems to be doing a little bit better than he did in school. But honestly, the more and more stuff comes out on different things, I'm not sure we're going to go back. But I don't know. We'll have to see. I know their stepmom and I are not really liking the idea of having to send them back. You're not climbing on the stove. And Glorious Life on Wheels, what is your name? I was going to say, I just met you in Lucretia's live, but... I was going to say, my biggest thing with helping mine has been attendance and making sure stuff gets picked up from the school. So they're both in art classes. And so like I'm making runs to the school about every 2 weeks to pick up art supplies. Like the last time it was paper mache goop. It's clear. I've never seen paper mache glue that was clear, but and we're having problems with one of the teachers. Like she wants cameras on all the time. They aren't allowed to move around or anything. Like they have to be square in front of their camera 100% of the time or they're absent. My name's Megan. I was going to say, so my 16-year-old, my son, he was on an IEP until probably 8th grade. I think he got to the point he was passing all but I think one of his classes. So they said he couldn't stay on the IEP, and then they moved him to a 504, and basically the only thing that does is give him extra time on standardized tests, which they're in the middle of getting rid of, which I don't mind at all. But I can totally understand. They've got a brother at the other house that has more special needs in terms of, like, so my son has some processing issues as well as ADD, and has some other stuff going on. And I don't know how much they've had to help him. The other house has 4 that are in school still, so I imagine they're kind of... I would there. I know that they all sit around the dining room table, so I'm hoping that they kind of help each other. I joke with the kids that this cat needs a cat carrier, like one of those baby carriers. Oh, okay. My sister-in-law is actually a speech therapist. And both of my kids did, I think they were actually doing it with occupational therapists, but they were doing speech therapy when they were little, like less than 3, like before it gets to the school system. Their dad and I somehow both managed to have speech follow us all the way through school. Well, it followed me until we moved here, so I had to move 2 states away. Otherwise, every year they were retesting, and I wasn't even in speech once I started school. I was out by 4.5. But because the records went into the school system, they would do that. I was gonna say, and I'm new enough to this, like I'm normally on my phone to watch lives, and it's interesting. It will autocorrect things to the incorrect spellings a lot of times, and I haven't been on a computer on a live more than a few times to know that they are actually, like, if you tag somebody when you're in a live on the computer, it automatically pulls up their name, and instead of having to actually type out the full name. So, fair warning, if I'm in a live and I see you, I'll probably say, "Hey, Carol," instead of "Hey, Glorious Life on Wheels," because otherwise I'd have to type all that out. So, okay, if you don't mind my asking, because like the topic of the day was like what people are snacking on, but since I think you're the only one here, if your daughter was in school, I'm making the wild assumption you're either still stationary or not yet traveling full time. Is that accurate? How well does that work? And like, are you in a warmer climate, or have you figured out ways to make that work in a northern climate? Because I'm in northern Indiana. And in case you're wondering how I wound up kind of in the RV realm as well as the homestead, I'm kind of wanting to do like a campground and do conversions, but I would be stationary, but I would just have everybody else sort of. Are you tired of sitting here? You can get down if you would like. Hi, Purple Tube. That works out well. That works out very well. And I think a lot of people are kind of, that had been thinking about it and were just waiting, possibly been working that way more. And Purple Tube, can you help remind me what your name is? I know you have lots and lots of very cute dogs, but I was going to say, I wish my daughter liked the virtual. She wants the social aspect of school. Definitely. And we live in a trailer park, so it's not like we don't have people around, but with people socially distancing, kids aren't outside like they used to be at all. There's 2 or 3 houses on this street with little kids that are out and together, but the teenagers are not hanging out, which from the ones that I have seen aren't socially distancing anyway. So that's probably not a bad thing. So purple too. Well, and Carol too. What do you guys snack on? Yeah. And that's one reason I'm kind of thinking towards snacks. I need to put in a grocery order because we go week on, week off with the kids. And the one request I keep getting is, Mom, will you please? Danny, I can handle that. I have a cousin that is Danielle, but we call her Danny. So anyway, they're like, Mom, can you just get snack food? We want snack food. And I'm going, I don't know what snack food is. Trying stuff like popcorn, they don't really go for, because it's something you have to make. Yeah, I just polished off probably a quarter of a container of ice cream that was topped with honey and, like, you know, the little marshmallows that would be in Lucky Charms? We have an Amish grocery store. You can get, like, they're those, only they're dehydrated. So we have a local Amish store we can get those at, and I've been working on that bag alone because I found out my daughter doesn't like them. Even when they're dehydrated and they have that kind of squeaky type thing that you would get from a stale marshmallow, it's not stale enough for her, even though she loves stale marshmallows. But yeah, so I mean, it's like, I'd like to have healthy options, but they don't typically just pick up carrots or celery and peanut butter. Ooh, I haven't had goldfish crackers in forever. No, it's not. And at one point I had tried like the veggie straws, thinking they would be better than potato chips because I have a nightshade issue. So I shouldn't be eating potato chips. And it's just potato starch. It's even more refined. It's even more refined than what a potato chip would be. And I'm trying to get back to drinking more water. I've gone through like probably 3 things of milk since the beginning of the week started. And it's like, it's been so hot here that even for lunches and stuff, we don't really cook. And half the time for suppers, because at 95 degrees or whatever, we don't want to. So it's tuna salad, or my son will do quesadillas. I hope whenever he gets to the point of finding a life partner, that they don't mind quesadillas, because he could live on them. So I have had apples around that I've been doing for breakfast since I haven't been working, and I'll eat those with peanut butter. My daughter was snacking on grapes, which tend to be a bit sweet for me. And then she's like, is anybody going to help me eat these? She was a little sick of them, so I'm taking a break, but now I don't know what to buy her for snacks. That was my phone. Oops. Maybe I won't put that there. I'll put that over here. Ooh, I could get like some string cheese. I bet they would like that. We have a tendency, we go through a lot of cheese. Obviously, my son could live on quesadillas, so he likes his pepper jack for that. I have gotten a couple of watermelons this summer, which I hadn't been doing, but we do like watermelon. And I suppose I still could if I go ahead and cut it up and put it in the fridge. But a couple years ago, I got this wild hair when our refrigerator was going out, and I didn't want a large refrigerator because I wanted counter space where the refrigerator was at. So I got a mini fridge. And at pretty much any time, we typically will get 4 gallons of milk, which pretty well fills most of that up. And I've got 2 mini fridges at this point. So I could fit like a bowl of watermelon. That would work. And I saw Aldi's has them on sale again this week. And as it gets cooler, I think I would be okay getting back to like making a big batch of popcorn and just splitting it 3 ways. And giving the kids each a bowl to snack on. Popsicles. We got a cow at the beginning of summer. Well, but not a full one. We got a quarter, and it completely filled up the freezer. So like there was a couple weeks in there we couldn't fit ice cream, and that was not good. It was like, okay, you have to eat enough beef to be able to fit ice cream in the freezer again, is what they told me on their way to their dad's. And popsicles would be good, and I like that they're automatically portion controlled, because at that point you're not going to just continually go back and get more. That's my problem with the ice cream. If they aren't home, I'll just eat it out of the container. And then they have a tendency, if they grab it, it's like they're filling the bowl up. We might live on ice cream in this house at times. And if you want to know what my ice cream actually looked like, that was actually the thumbnail picture. I put honey and then those marshmallows and then Hershey syrup on top of it. And for whatever reason, that actually doesn't cause me any histamine reactions or adverse effects, because it's all corn syrup based instead of sugar. I used to eat nuts. I still eat peanuts occasionally, but I don't have enough teeth for them. Which I suppose my implant on this side it has solidified up now with the bone grafting, so I could probably do nuts again. I keep going back to those goldfish crackers. Crackers sound good. Oh, and my son does crackers and cream cheese. That's one of his favorites too. My daughter is all about the chocolate right now. And she likes like the Nutty Buddy, like the layers of wafer and chocolate and peanut butter. She likes those. My daughter, that's my daughter. My son says that after he goes through one or so that they're just too sweet. And then he'll just keep eating them anyway. So I'm not sure I understood that conversation. I wonder if you could freeze watermelon and have it be like a popsicle. That is not fun. I should probably, so with the histamine issues I have, I'm kind of narrowing some of it down to, I have issues with lectins, which is in any grain. From what I've been able to find on research, it's basically, assuming I can extrapolate from wheat to other grains, it's in like the germ and the bran. Melted cheese and salsa. That is, oh, and I saw recently, I'm not sure where, but they have come out with cassava chips, where it's cassava flour made into tortillas and then tortilla chips done that way. And I wanted to try that. I react to corn if it's like whole kernel corn. Tortilla chips are usually okay unless they have something on them. A lot of the flavorings give me issues. But then again, you know, most of the salsa and I had a request a week or two ago for, I don't know what it's called. It's like the cheese with salsa in it. Which I don't think is technically queso, but I think that's what it's sold as. And I really like that, you know, except the peppers and the tomatoes don't like me. So does anything else give you migraines, Danny? Okay. One issue with having it on the computer is sitting there hitting the computer. I get headaches some, but overall, migraines is not something I deal with just a whole lot, unless I eat like cilantro or coriander. If something has frankincense in it, I react to that too. So like one bite of something with cilantro in it, like guacamole or something, and I will be down for 4 hours with a light sensitive migraine. And like to the point I can't drive within 15 minutes. That's pretty much the only time I deal with migraines, honestly. Otherwise, it's dizzy spells or hives, that kind of thing. Thought I was stepping on a cat. Have a good day, Carol. I was going to say, hopefully you are done soon. It's 4:30 here. My kids have probably been out of school for an hour now. I say probably. They have been out of school for an hour. I guess they'd be 50 minutes. But yeah, so it's interesting to me, like, if corn gives you migraines, then stuff like popcorn wouldn't be a good option for you for snacks either. or anything with corn syrup. And I'm beginning to think that corn syrup's just in everything, except a lot of stuff has been going to cane sugar, which I used to always hope for, and I react to cane sugar, so. What I really need to do is hard boil some eggs again. I haven't done that in a while. I used to love I'd grab a hard boiled egg and throw some salt on it and call it good. Ooh, we're dipped in French dressing, like Western, back when I could eat Western. That was always me. I was gonna say, and I know a lot of people just try and not snack, which I get to some degree, but every time I've talked to doctors and stuff, they typically wind up, if we're discussing food and stuff, it's always, well, you need to eat more because you're not getting enough calories to lose weight. Hey, knock it off over there. Wouldn't that be interesting? Cat fight on Alive. At least it's not up here. You can't see it. That's kind of creepy. The phone that is offline is giving me notifications. So I was going to say, before anybody was in here, some of the things I had mentioned for snacks that I do. I almost pulled this down on me once. I got a big bag of apple rings from As Your Standard, which are working well for me as a snack for some odd reason. I had mainly gotten them for the kids, and then the kids told me they don't like those. Go figure. But they don't seem to cause histamine reactions, even though they're not like chip hard. I was hoping they would be kind of like chips. It didn't work out that way. And then I also keep hot chocolate around, which is, it's not really a snack to me, but it is definitely more filling than a glass of milk. And then we do popcorn on the stove. Lately, I have been putting ghee on that instead of salt or butter. But otherwise, we will just melt some butter in the toaster oven and toss that on there. And we do pink Himalayan salt for pretty much everything. And my son likes quesadillas. That is his kind of go-to. And he has been on a chicken nugget kick lately. That and ice cream. Danny, in case you weren't in here, the thumbnail is the picture of the ice cream I was eating like an hour ago. So those have been, and I do keep cereal around, but they don't really necessarily just eat cereal for a snack. They'll eat cereal for a meal, but not for a snack. I was going to try and get back to the live. There we go. Other things when it's not quite so hot and it's more enjoyable to bake. I do have the Live G-free gluten-free brownie mix, and we'll occasionally make those. I used to keep like waffles in the freezer and they could just heat those up. But we're really getting away from a lot of the breads and things. between needing it to be gluten-free and the consistency not always being great with those, it's somewhat difficult to really make that an enjoyable snack. Not to mention all the sugar from the syrup, and I haven't been keeping syrup around as much, although we will tend to just use honey if we need to in place of it. And then I also have frozen fruit in the freezer pretty much at all times, so a smoothie is not out of the question. I used to keep more nuts around, but with the histamine issues, I react to nuts now, and I don't really have enough teeth to... I had dental implants last summer, and I'm now down one of those, and the other one was still having issues. So I could probably go back to more nuts if they didn't make my tongue feel like it was going to bleed. My son likes crackers and cream cheese. So I always try and keep that on hand, but trying to find some healthy stuff that's not just constant carbs. Because it seems, I don't know, it seems like I'm always going for either sweet or salty or a combination of the two. And it kind of gets thrown off because I don't have a good mix right now. Like even the stuff that's not sweet isn't really salty. Like if I was to pick up Rice Chex, that's not salty. Most of the crackers I can get are seeds and or nut based. I snack on leftovers probably more than I should. I probably could consume a small meal that way without realizing it, but I don't know. A lot of times these days it seems like I only really eat twice a day anyway. So maybe that would be a good thing. I was going to say, just for giggles, I got this a month or two ago. Normally we'll go get not necessarily, I mean, I guess it is fair food, but like elephant ears, funnel cakes, that kind of thing, about once a year. We don't normally go to the fair here. The fair in our county is the second largest in the country, so it's just too many people. And it's expensive to get in. It's like $8 just to walk in the gate. And then the food's expensive on top of it because of so many people. So I think historically when we were going down to visit my parents over the years, we'd usually wind up hitting up a vendor from the Mermaid Festival, which is not, I guess they did put in like a gated area for the rides and stuff, but all of the food vendors are outside of that gate, so you can just go and get whatever you want and leave. But I may have impulse purchased a small deep fryer that was on a clearance sale. So then I got the funnel cake maker to do that with, and I have yet to make them. They're not gluten-free, so it's not something I should really be eating anyway. I don't know. I was just thinking about it, and it's like my kids are constantly asking me to get more snack foods, and it's like, well, what do you consider a snack food? And they name off stuff that either I've never heard of or we it would be more substantial. So like, because what I really want, I want to get back into normal meals rather than snacky meals and grazing all day, because with all three of us home all day, that seems to be a bit of an issue. So even if there's something simple like a French bread pizza that they might make for lunch, I wouldn't necessarily want them grabbing that for a snack after school's over, because I would like to be doing supper at a decent time so they can get better sleep, if that makes sense. And at this point, I'm basically doing all my grocery shopping at Aldi's through Instacart, so I'm somewhat limited on what we get. I do buy a lot of chocolate because we're chocoholics. That and ice cream. But like they won't pick up like applesauce or like the apple rings. They won't just pick that up to eat. I could get some carrots and some celery and try those, like having them pre-cut up in containers and see if they'd grab those. Historically, they haven't. I wind up being the one that has to try and get them all eaten. And with my issues with not being able to store things for extended periods of time, especially in damp conditions, that's not necessarily great. For a while, I was getting like, not honeydew melon, cantaloupe, and cutting that up. And I like snacking on apples. They kind of make my daughter bounce off the walls, though. Oh, I have a box of Raisin Bran up there. If you guys have never heard of 6-week muffins, you should really try them out. It's one of those things that it makes a gigantic batch. Way back when I was still with their dad and I was making them, I actually had like one of those like cake carrier things that's, I don't know, 6 or 8 inches deep. You can fit like a 2 or 3 layer cake in there. It would fill that 3/4 of the way full with batter, and then we could just leave it in the fridge. But they also freeze well, so like I could make a batch of those, leave it in the fridge overnight, and then just bake and put them in bags and freeze as soon as they're cooled. And I always get compliments on how good they taste, but fair warning, if people don't get enough fiber, they will complain that they have to go to the bathroom later. Probably TMI, but that's been the one complaint. It never bothered my kids or I at all, but we eat a pretty healthy diet and have a good mix of fruits and veggies. So, yeah. Charlie. He's over there trying to eat Pinga's cat food. And the goal is not to have a major catastrophe with them fighting. So it doesn't look like anybody at this point is watching anymore. So I think I'm going to just go ahead and sign off. I've kind of exhausted my snack food ideas. Hopefully this has been a little bit helpful for you guys. I was going to say, I think I'm going to throw a watermelon in my shopping cart and probably some tortilla chips, because that sounds really good. And see if we can do that some this week. So I will let you guys go. And hopefully you have a wonderful day. And I will see you in 2 weeks. It hasn't been working out for whatever reason on weeks that I have the kids. So I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. And that way you guys don't hear them in the background either. And I will, I also have a video coming out later today. So, or maybe I'll schedule it for tomorrow. I don't know. I've got a few minor adjustments to do on it yet, and then it'll be out. And I've got to go get a cat off the counter. I'll see you guys later.